Hey everyone, we hope you are all having an amazing day and welcome to Code's very first guest speaker event. Today marks the second day of our 3-day event here. And for those who are unaware, Code is a student-led nonprofit that's primarily based in New York that hopes to expose students of any background to the multitude of benefits and opportunities that technology brings to our lives and just society as a whole. One way that we do this is by hosting events such as this one, so that not only students in our own school can gain this information, but anyone who's interested in learning about the world of computer science can gain insight as to what the world is like as a software engineer.
With that being said, it is a great honor to introduce our guest speaker today, who is going to give us insight on his journey into the tech industry. Aaron is a software engineer at American Express, and he's a passionate individual that loves to help others and teach about software. He lives in New York and graduated from the College of Staten Island. Fun fact, Aaron even has his own YouTube channel. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Aaron Oquendo.
Hello. What is going on, everyone? Alrighty. So I hope everybody's in the room. I hope everybody's situated and ready to see what I have to present. So I'll get straight into it. I'm Aaron Oquendo. I'm gonna open up my slides first. There we go. All right, guys. So I'm Aaron Oquendo. I'm born and raised over here in Staten Island, New York. And this is going to be my presentation on how I made it into the tech industry. So after this presentation, I hope you guys can see the pathway to getting into the tech industry, and I hopefully my journey can help you on your journey. So let's get straight into it. So what we're going to cover today is we're going to go from my childhood days to my high school days, going to college, how I found my first position, and then the future from here. So let's go straight into it. Now, my childhood, I was just a kid that just loved video games and electronics. You can see me here on the right side. I got my first Game Boy right here. I loved electronics. Video games just interested me as a kid. If my Game Boy like broke or something like that, I would open it up. I would take some screwdrivers, open it up, look at it, and try to fix it. Same thing if I had my Xbox or something and it was messing up, I would open it up and I would try to fix it. I was just super interested in technology and electronics. It was something that innately I did. So yeah, that was my childhood and such. After that, playing video games until like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and just like opening up electronics and such, it made me want to go to a technical high school. So you see here on the left right here, this is Ralph McKee High School. This is in Staten Island, New York.
Hey, so Aaron, we actually can't see your screen.
Oh, you can't see my screen? Oh.
Yep.
Let's see. Let's share it right here. Okay, I'm pretty sure you can see my screen now. Let's go like this. And I will present here. So I know you guys probably just heard what I said. I can recap for a quick second. This is my presentation on how I made it into the tech industry, and I hope that my journey can help you. So let's get straight into it. Like I said, I'm going to show you my childhood, my high school journey, my college journey, how I got my first position, and the future from here. I told you about, hopefully you heard me say how I was very interested in electronics and video games as a child. And you could see me with my Game Boy right here on the right. And, I was just super interested in electronics and video games that I would, open up my Game Boys, open up my Xboxes or any console that I had. I would, want to tinker with it and understand how it worked. So, yeah, this is me as a child. You could see me here on the right side. And right here, like I was saying before, the left side here, this is my high school. This is Ralph McKee Technical High School. I know some of you that are watching this are probably from Brooklyn Technical High School. So I come from a similar background and such. So here, this is where I learned the fundamentals of computers. I was in the Cisco networking program, and I was also in the computer maintenance program. So I learned how computer networks work and what's entailed with them. I learned how to assemble a computer, putting the whole thing together, the power supply, the RAM, the hard drive, installing the operating system on the computer, reinstalling the operating system. Pretty much I learned all of my base understandings of computers here at this technical high school. And if you're in a technical high school, definitely don't take that for granted, because you learn so much. You learn so much early in your life that can help you on your journey as you're going, if as you want to go into the tech industry in the future. And if you're not in a technical high school, that's perfectly fine. I just think that having an enthusiasm of how computers are work and the fundamentals is a great thing to know as you're going along your journey in tech. So as you can see right here, I went to a technical high school. I learned my fundamentals of computers right here and such. Now for college, well, let me take a back step for a second. So after high school, I learned my computers and stuff. I learned the computer maintenance and how computers worked, and that made me want to actually learn more about programming and just computers in general. And programming just made sense for me because I always liked the idea of creating something from scratch. And programming allowed me to take an idea from my mind and like create something out of nothing. And that's what made me want to go to college for computer science. Now, my college journey was not the traditional path. You can see here, I have University of Albany here. I have College of Staten Island here. I have Kingsborough Community College here. And then I have College of Staten Island again here. So when I graduated, high school, I wanted to take up a computer science program, and I decided to go to the University of Albany. And here at the University of Albany, I was still pretty young. I think I was around 18, and I didn't really have a self-identity for myself. There was a lot of peer pressure here for me personally, and I was very unfocused. And I ended up transferring out of University of Albany after my first year to College of Staten Island right here. And I'm, born and raised in Staten Island, and my grandmother's house is here in Staten Island. So I ended up going to College of Staten Island after University of Albany. For a year, I transferred out. My grades got bad, basically, because I was unfocused and I didn't have a self-identity. And I only say this, I'm telling you this journey because I want you all to know that your journey doesn't have to be like everyone else's, right? Your journey doesn't have to be go to a technical high school, go to college and get a 4-year degree, graduate in 4 years, then, get your first job at, Google, right? Your path can be totally different, right? And as long as you stay the course and you know what you want to go, you just moving forward and you're trying things out that your heart is telling you to, you're going to make it to the destination that you're meant to make it at. So that's why I'm telling you this whole story and such. So like I said, too much peer pressure at University of Albany. I had enough awareness to know myself enough to want to transferred out to College of Staten Island, was still kind of unfocused and such. And my grades went down. I ended up having to go to Kingsborough Community College my 3rd year of college because they had a program called the New Start program, and you would have to get your GPA back up, and then you could go back to College of Staten Island. So at this point, when I went to Kingsborough Community College, I was focused. I understood like the salaries that are at play when you're in the computer science industry. I understood that I had some kind of acumen for computers, and I was like, you know what, it's time to move forward and get my life together. So I ended up doing very well in the Kingsborough Community College. I got A's and B's in my computer science classes, learning object-oriented programming and Java programming. I had a Java programming class as well. And then after my GPA went back up, I went back to College of Staten Island. And so this was 3 years, 1, 2, 3. This would be like 4, 5, 6. So I spent 3 more years at College of Staten Island, and I finally got my computer science degree. So it took me around 6 years to finish college. And I wouldn't regret anything that happened at all, because through this whole process, I learned more about myself, and I became greater from this whole process. So I say this to say that your process could be something similar to this, or it could be totally different. But as long as you continue to move forward, you're going to make it to where you want to go. So on to the next slide. So now I graduated college, and as you could see, I had post-college job search struggles, right? So I couldn't find a job for about a year out of college, right? I was going to interviews. I was applying to jobs, but I couldn't pass any interviews, and I could barely get some callbacks in the beginning. So at some point, I noticed like I need to do something better, right? I need to figure out how to actually crack into this industry and get my foot in the door. So I'll move on to the next slide. Now, the real thing, the question that I asked myself, what was I doing wrong, right? And what I realized at the time is I did not try to get any internships during college, right? I had no real world experience. I didn't have a portfolio site. I had no work to show employers, no projects to show employers, no code on GitHub, right? And I wasn't prepared for interviews, right? This was a reality check for me. So I had to come to this realization that I needed to prepare myself, and I needed to put myself in a position to be seen by employers and for employers to want me. So I realized this, and then I came up with this strategy on how to get my first position. So I'll show you exactly what I did here. So first thing I did was I created a portfolio site. I used HTML, CSS, and a little bit of JavaScript to put a website online, a personal website and such. I created my professional social media and job board accounts. So I made like Aaron Oquendo __. That's the only one they had for Twitter, Instagram. I created my Aaron Oquendo LinkedIn page. I think LinkedIn is the one social media platform as a job seeker that you definitely need to have your LinkedIn nowadays, because it is basically your resume at this point. So I created my LinkedIn, my Twitter, my Instagram. I created accounts for all the job form websites. So Indeed, Monster, any website that you have that you see online where there's job listings, you want to create all of those profiles and fill out those profiles with all the experience that you have, and keep updating that experience as you get more experience. And when I say experience, you're going to see what I mean in the next steps here. So I also created 2 to 3 solid projects, and I made sure that they were crystal clean and clean cut, and the UIs looked great, and made sure that when somebody went to look at my work, they were impressed with my work, right? And this took me time. It took me, I remember I created an e-commerce store, and it took me about, a month and a half to 2 months to just create all of the front end pages and such. And there were things that I had no idea of how to do. And I pretty much searched online, and I figured it out on my own, and I stretched my abilities, and I did that and such. And then I also created a few other projects as well, a real estate application, a travel booking website. But this all took time. Like I said, it took, maybe like 6, 7, 8 months to finally finish like my 3 projects. I also had some other smaller projects, like just regular responsive landing pages and such. But in any case, I decided I want to create some projects and have some work that I can tangibly show to employers and that they can find online, so that they can say, oh, wow, like I can see what this guy can do. And I maybe I should hire this guy, right? Because most people, a lot of people don't have their work online. They don't have that social proof of them being able to actually complete a job or do certain work. They can just say, hey, yeah, I can do this, and that, and the third. So that was the third thing I started to do, right? The fourth thing I started to do is I started to go to meetups. I went up to meetup.com, and I started to go to these meetups. That was pre-COVID times. You probably can't go to a meetup right now during COVID if you're watching this during COVID. But I went to some meetups, and I met a few different people, and I got actually a few interviews from people that I met on Meetup. So if you can go find any online meetups as well right now, or in-person meetups, definitely go and connect with people your connections are going to be one of the most helpful things as you move along in your career, because one connection could get you your next position. So yeah, the fifth thing I did is I started to do freelance work. So I went on Craigslist, I went on Upwork, and I actually found a few jobs to create some responsive landing pages. I found a job to create a digital menu for a taco, a Mexican cuisine company. I found that on Craigslist, actually. So if you go on Craigslist and you just type in some kind of skill, type in HTML, you type in Java, JavaScript, whatever language that you know, just type that in, just the keyword, and you'll probably find a job that you can do. And that work that you actually complete, you can put that on your portfolio's website that you've created here. And like I said, like I said before, now you have social proof to show to employers, hey, this is what I can do. I don't even have to tell you what I can do. Like, you can see what I can do, right? So I did this right here. I also created a relevant resume and cover letter. And what I mean by relevant, I mean for any job that I applied to, I would make sure all of the keywords that are in the job listing are in my resume or in my cover letter. And anything that the job listing seems like that they want from a candidate, you want to make sure the resume you send out to them has those keywords, has everything that they are thinking in their mind that they need, so that when they look at your resume or they look at your cover letter, they're like, oh, okay, wow, like this is the person that I need. They know exactly the skills that I need. So let me hire this person. So you could also message me after this, and I can send you my resume and my cover letter, and you can basically use it as a template if you like. So yeah. So after I've done all of this and such, I started to apply for jobs again for 20 to 30 minutes a day. And I was still applying to jobs here and there when I created my projects here, my portfolio site, and I was doing some freelance work. But I was really just kind of focusing on these so that I could stand out. But at some point, I started to say, hey, I'm going to start applying every single day, no matter what. And so I would take 20 minutes out of my morning. I would wake up, I would meditate for the day, make sure that my mental health is good and that I'm in a good space. And then after that, I would legit 20 minutes a day, I will put a timer on. I'm going in on the websites and I'm applying. And my goal was to get my first position. And from there, once I'm in the door, then I can move up to different levels and such. So, but in order for you to actually get into a position, sometimes you just need to actually, it's a numbers game at some point. So you just have to keep pushing your resume out and pushing it out and pushing it out and such. So number 8 is I never gave up. I knew what I wanted. I knew that I deserved to get in the industry, and I knew the industry was for me. So I decided no matter what, I'm never going to give up. And if I can always search and figure out how to do this, ask different people, keep doing what I listed here, and just going until it happens. And after a year or so, I actually got 3 job offers basically after a year. And one of the job offers that I actually got was from an employer that rejected me back a year before. But I believe from doing all of this stuff that I listed here, you can see here, it actually made me look more valuable to the company. And I actually got an offer from them, but I didn't actually take their offer. I actually used their offer as leverage to, get my position here at American Express now. So yeah. And if you want to see, I actually made an article, a blog post about this topic on how I landed my first position. And you could go see that article on my website here, aaronoquendo.com/how I landed my first web development position. Or you could just go straight to aaronoquendo.com and you'll see it. It's the first, it's one of the first, it's the very first blog post that I put out and such. Now, the future, right? Now, now I'm in the tech industry. I'm in American Express. My job is great. I work with great engineers. I'm learning so much. The future really is to continue to empower others to step into their greatness and do what's on their heart. And whether that's going in the tech industry, whether that's doing anything else that they'd like, but really allowing them, showing them that they can actually go out and live the life of their dreams. So that's number one. Just keep continuing to empower others. Two is to create innovative products and services. I just love that technology is just changing the world, for good and bad at times. But I have optimism that we can create a more holistic technology that is going to benefit society and humans. So I want to be one of those people that is creating innovative products and services, brand new products and services. And this is happening, and I will continue to do this and such. And lastly, I want to continue to give back to my family, friends, and the world at large. Whether that's philanthropy, showing my family and friends what it is that I know, and what it is that I think can help, and also to the world at large, and pretty much just giving as much as I can, because I feel grateful for what I have now, and I think we all should be grateful for what we have now, and we get to give back to those that do not see things from the same perspective that we have. So yeah, that is this presentation, everyone. If you have any questions, you can definitely shoot the questions in the chat right now. You could also contact me on LinkedIn here or on Twitter. You could just search Aaron Oquendo for my LinkedIn profile. And then you could also look at my Twitter, which is Aaron Oquendo, and then __ at the end. There's 2 underscores for my Twitter account. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I'm super glad to be here with you all. So hopefully we have some questions coming this way. So talk to you guys in a second. Let's see. Stop sharing. There we go. So Q&A. Any questions? When I was discouraged, how did I keep pushing forward? It was basically what I saw on the other side, right? I knew that if I was able to get into the industry, I was going to be able to be financially comfortable, and I never wanted to struggle. And I knew that this industry would allow me to not struggle in that regards. And I also knew that this was an industry that I would enjoy working in, right? I was working retail and sales before, and it really wasn't actually something that it wasn't really anything I enjoyed. And I knew getting over this hump would be a drop in the bucket if I'm gonna go working in a dream job anyway after I get over the hump. So that's how I kept pushing forward and such. What are some of the most important things that I learned about the tech industry and the software industry, and software engineering? The most important thing is to be a problem solver, and to not think too specifically about languages. What language should I know? This, that, and the third. What's the best way to do this and such, right? The main thing is to learn how to solve problems. So whatever way you can do to, whatever way you can solve a problem, you just need to be able to solve problems, critically think, and solve problems. Basically, be a problem solver. Nice. Congrats, man. Or yeah, congrats. Definitely message me after this, and I can speak to you more about American Express's culture and what to expect. Okay. Um, a freshman in high school, what they can do to prepare is to start writing code. Like, start creating small projects. It could be something small, like a little calculator, or like track your calories, or create a project that you could show to people and say, hey, I created this. And also try to get an internship as early as you can. Don't be like me and get out of college and not get an internship and such before you hit the job market. But it's perfectly fine if you don't get an internship. But if you can, try to definitely get that. Were there times where you were attacked specifically by stereotypes for the path you were taking in life? If you have, how did you conquer them? I don't know if I was attacked specifically, but I know, you know, being a darker pigmented person, you don't see much of us or as many of us in the industry. So you know, going into the industry could and not seeing as many as of you there makes you question, like, okay, why isn't there as many of the same type of people as me there? And you don't actually also have like the same culture with like regular day people that like your friends that you knew. It's you're interacting with different people from a different culture, and you don't see your culture in there as much. But over time, we're trying to change that for sure. But I have not specifically been attacked by stereotypes, to answer your question simply. Did my hardware practice ever come useful in the software industry? Yeah, I would say so. Actually, recently it has. I've been doing a lot of back-end database, programming, and understanding how the database and how many queries or times you're trying to get data from the database. It affects the performance of the CPU. So depending on the CPU that application is running on, you could see different performance of the application or different speeds at which the application will work at, depending on the CPU, which is a hardware component. So that did connect for me recently, which is pretty cool. How would you recommend someone get into this industry? Um, you really have to decide. You have to decide which lane that you want to go into. So, like for me, I moved into the web development lane, right? There's mobile development, there's web development, there's desktop development, there's embedded development, if you're going to work on like chips or actual hardware, programming for hardware. So first you need to find out which lane that you want to get into. I really like web development because it's pretty diverse. You can, with web development technologies now, you can create desktop applications, you can create mobile applications, you can create web applications, you can even work on embedded systems with some JavaScript as well. So I personally like web development, but what I would say first is find a lane that you want to go on, and then just search on Google, like, what are the skills that I need to be a mobile developer? And then chip away at those skills one by one, and really learn the fundamentals of each skill. And also create projects for whatever platform that you're looking to go into, or type of development that you're trying to go into. Because through getting your elbows in the mud and actually creating those projects, you'll actually learn so much more than actually just reading documentation or just understanding things. You want to actually like feel and know things through first-hand experience. So, yep. If I wasn't in software engineering, what other career would I consider? I like this question a lot. I would actually be a music producer. So I really love jazz, and I really love, yeah, I love music in general. But I do like jazz and piano, and I actually create. I do music on the side, and I create like beats and jazzy and like hip hop beats and such. So I would definitely want to play the piano or and be a music producer if this wasn't my career. What do I normally do at a day at work as a software engineer? Okay, so I wake up. I work from home now, so I wake up and then I stand right here, like I'm standing with you guys right here. I sit actually, not stand. I sit right here and I log into my computer and I look at the project management software that we have at work, which is Jira. And I look at all of the tasks that my team needs to complete for this what they would call a sprint, which would be every 2 weeks. And I start working on that task. And at 1 o'clock or 12:30 Eastern time, we get on a video conference call with my team, and we call that a stand up. And we talk about, every engineer talks about what their current process is on their current progress is on the current tasks that we're working on, and if we have any blockers or such. And if we have blockers, then we might message each other and say, hey, like, do you know about this, this, and this? And then we'll help each other, and then we'll continue to work on your task for the rest of the day. And then it's just rinse and repeat. Look at the job, the task on the board, and then just chip away at a task. And then there's other meetings here and there on new things that we want to add to the product. And if you ever know what Scrum is or Agile, we follow an Agile or a Scrum methodology, and you can look that up later if you want to know. But basically, it's just look at the Jira board, see what task that we have available, start working on the task, check into stand up, and then rinse and repeat. Do I have a person that inspired me to where I am to be now? To be honest, not really. Not in the software space. I don't really I never had a real role model in the tech or the software space. There was never anybody that was there in my external environment that was there for me. So I kind of paved my own path, I would say. But there have definitely been inspirational people in general, and I really I look up to. Like, I think Elon Musk is great. I think plenty of other people are great. I love Kanye West for his confidence, even though he's a little crazy. I love Pharrell Williams for his creative nature. But in the software space, I don't really have anybody that fully inspired me. What programming languages do you recommend for beginners? I would say it really depends on, like I said before, what lane you're trying to go into, right? So like if you're trying to do machine learning or something, you probably should learn Python, right? If you're trying to learn web development, you definitely need to know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And you want to start with HTML. You want to get your HTML down. You want to learn your CSS then, and then you want to learn your JavaScript if you're doing web development. If you're doing mobile development, if you want to move towards that, you definitely want to learn Swift or Objective-C. If you're learning embedded systems, probably C++. So you kind of have to figure out which lane do I want to go into, and then just learn that language as best as you can. And the one thing I want to say as well is try not to get too bogged down on what language it is, right? Try to learn the fundamentals of programming. So, you want to learn your variables, your loops, your functions, your classes, right? Your if statements, conditional statements, I don't know if I said loops, your variable types, right? If you know what those are, and you know fundamentally what those are, it doesn't matter what language you learn, but and you'll be able to switch between languages. But depending on what area that you're trying to go into, you definitely want to use the what I just said earlier as it pertains to what language to learn for a specific development path. I think the college experience is worth it if you're not going to get in debt, or if you have the funds to pay for it and it's not going to put you a step behind. Um, or if you just really want to learn super fundamentals in a group setting, and you're willing to pay for it, then yeah. But nowadays you do not need a college degree in most positions. In some positions, I'm not gonna say most positions. You could legit do what I said earlier: create a portfolio, create projects, and work your way up the ladder. But at some point, you definitely want to learn some kind of fundamentals of computer science if you're going to if you want to be a very deeply skilled engineer. So it really depends. I definitely think it's worth it in certain cases, but it's definitely not needed. How do you keep your technology skills current? Okay, so what I would do is I would go on Reddit and I would find all the subreddits for the certain technologies that you like and such. So there's like a web dev Reddit, there's a mobile development Reddit, there's a JavaScript Reddit, there's a Java Reddit subreddit, there's a technology subreddit, right? And just make an account and have all of those subreddits there. And then periodically, once a week, once every 2 weeks, go look in those subreddits, see what people are talking about. Somebody might be like, hey, this new thing, Dino.js just came out. Like, this is super cool, blah, 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 and then you could keep your eye on basically what's happening with the industry. So I would say through Reddit, I would say if you go on GitHub and you look at the most trending on GitHub, you can see which code bases are currently being worked on that have the most stars and such. You can, what else is there? I think, yeah, it's mainly GitHub, and then I use Reddit a lot to kind of stay up to date with the current skills of current technology skills. When is a good time to start making projects if you're still learning fundamentals? You can start whenever you want. Just, you're gonna, if you never created a project before, you're gonna get stuck, right? Actually, you know what it is? Think of an idea that you want to create, right? As you're learning the fundamentals, have an idea of something you want to create, right? So say it was just a to-do list or something, or a calorie tracking system or something like that, right? As you're learning your fundamentals, think about, hey, like, how would I use these fundamentals to create this project that I have in mind? And then maybe as you're learning the fundamentals, start to do the project. If it's too hard, go back to your fundamentals and learn more of your fundamentals. And then continue to search on Google and such. But I don't think there's ever a time for you not to start making your own projects. Yeah, just whenever, as soon as you can. Are there any programming languages that you're interested in learning as a hobby? I've heard a lot of good things about Go, the language that Google made. I heard that it's very fast, and it's very good for a lot of requests coming into like a server, backend server. So I would say Go, and I do want to. It's not really a language, but I do want to learn machine learning. So you could say kind of Python machine learning, in the near future, because I feel like machine learning and AI is something that is going to be here in full-fledged in the near future. Other than experience, is there a huge difference between junior and senior engineers? The huge difference is the experience. I work with certain engineers that I have one engineer I work with. He has 20 years of experience. And when I came on the team, I did not know what he knew. There's no way I could have known what he knew for 20 years experience. So the main difference is experience. And that's basically about it, in my opinion. So a lot of senior engineers, they like to do things that are working or that are stable instead of moving to the next framework or the next technology. Like if things are working, they like to work with it. A lot of junior engineers, they're like, oh, there's this new hot thing on the block, like I want to use that, like and stuff. And meanwhile, those new technologies are not real well tested. They're not well documented usually, and it can be hard to work with those. So I think that's a difference for junior and senior engineers as well. The want to use new technologies and such, kind of is different for I could say for most or some of them. I'm not gonna say all of them, for some. So. What would you recommend to people who would be on their job search? I would just recommend them to do everything that I listed in the blog article that I posted. You can go back and look at the blog article. Just do all of that. Study some coding interview problems and take your time. Just know that things don't happen overnight. Just have a bucket list of things that you're going to do, and just do one thing at a time. You don't have to do everything in one day, but as long as you're moving towards your goal, you're going to get there. What are my success habits? I would say one of the biggest habits I would say is meditation. Just consistently meditating 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, just not to think about things and just to be present, and to be grateful for now. I think that is one of the biggest habits that has helped me. Just being grateful for this moment, no matter where I am in my journey, has helped me so much to move forward. Because when I'm grateful for what I have now, I attract more to be grateful for. So I would say gratitude, meditation, reading documentation for code, languages and such. So yeah, those would be my habits. Yeah. Have you ever used Code Wars or Leak Code? I have used Code War. Didn't use Leak Code as much, but I have used Code Wars here and there. I never did too much of the coding interview. I never went too deep into it. Really, my projects and my ability to speak about the things that I know actually helped me a lot more than actually the interview questions actually. What's the most interesting project that you worked on? It would be the project that I'm working on now. So I'm on the dynamic email team, personalized dynamic email team at Amex. So what we do is we serve personalized dynamic content to Amex card members' emails. So any email that somebody that has a Amex card, if they get a marketing email sent to their phone, like the offers in the email would be personalized to their specific spending habits, and the content in the email is dynamic. So you could go to lunch at 3:00 and go to lunch at your favorite restaurant down the block, right? And you could check your same email at 7 p.m. and the content in the email can actually change depending on your spending habits. So The emails are hyper personalized and they're dynamic, meaning that the data is fresh anytime. It could be fresh anytime you open the email. So I think this project has been definitely the most interesting project that I've worked on. What do you think interviewers look for the most for software engineering? I think enthusiasm, a willingness to learn, teamwork, being a team player, technical skills, obviously. And yeah, that's what I would say. All of that. Do I prefer algorithmic style interviews or scenario based? I've always been someone to go into interviews through, I guess I don't know what you mean by scenario based. And if you mean by just explaining technologies and explaining how I've created things and stuff, and showing people what I've done and what I can do, I'd rather that. Yes, I was never the greatest at algorithmic style questions, but I'm always been someone that can like create a product from scratch or explain how everything works and such. Does peer review happen often in software engineering? If so, what do you look for in a peer's code to see if it's reliable, fluent, and efficient? What do developers miss and forget? So yeah, as I've grown, I've started to review code more. Like usually the senior engineer reviews code. At some point I was reviewing a lot of front end code because I would say I'm pretty good at front end and such. But I would say we would look for the dry principle, not repeating yourself, and basically creating code that is abstract enough that you can use it in many places in your project and not have redundant code that is the same, like the same functions here and then a same function here, same function here, but having one function that you can import into one file and using that function here and then using that function in a different file. So basically making your code abstract to enough of a level so that it's simple and you're not having redundant code. I think that's one thing I look at when I'm reviewing code and stuff. And also making sure that, the variable names are, self-explanatory so that you understand, okay, this variable is for this. Making sure that we're doing things in the same style around the whole code base, so that as new engineers come in, we can conform to a certain standard. And instead of having new engineers come in and say, oh, why is this like this? And then this is like this, but having the same approach or the same standard and such. So hopefully that makes sense. What kind of challenges excite you professionally? Anything that I have no experience with, right? So like things that like are challenging to me, right? Things like I've been working on a back end. I used to be a lot of front end. I used to do a lot of front end stuff and such. And I got challenged to start doing back end work and working with the database that has like millions of records in it, and partitioning the database and these like more advanced database concepts that I actually never knew about, or I never learned. Just anything that's going to challenge me, what I currently know. That's what excites me, because I know after I learn that, I'm going to be so much more valuable to the team, and I'm going to be so much valuable as an employee, or just for myself if I want to create a project or so. How do I cope with burnouts? We got a lot of questions. So how do I cope with burnouts? Mainly being able to step away from the computer. And I'm not perfect, but definitely, like, when I'm finished with work, trying to doing my best to step away and do something else, go exercise, do some push-ups, take a walk. In the mornings, like I said before, just meditating in the morning, having some time for self, not consuming a lot of content sometimes, just like, being with myself, and being content, you know. So yeah. If I could go back to high school or college, what is one thing you would do differently? I would say just get an intern. I should have got an internship. I should have just got an internship when I was earlier in my career. But other than that, everything happened for a reason, and it made me who I am today. So I think everything else I would actually leave the same. So probably just try to get an internship before graduating. Great. Okay. I think that was the end of this presentation. I hope you all got something great out of this. I'm very grateful to be on this platform for Code. I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate everybody that tuned in. And if you want to reach out to me, just message me on LinkedIn or message me on Twitter or such. So I'm wishing you all the very best, and I'll talk to you in due time. Peace.
Thank you all for joining us at today's event, and a big thank you to Aaron for his amazing speech. I personally enjoyed it very much, and I'm hoping that everyone else does as well. With that being said, that wraps up day 2 of our guest speakers event. Tomorrow, Sunday, will be our final guest speaker event at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. If you have any questions, you can follow us on Instagram at BTHSCode, or if you prefer to communicate by email, then email us at team@techcodes.org. Aaron, thanks again. We couldn't have pulled this off without you. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your day and take care.